Welcome to Senior Stay or Go TV, a show to educate, entertain, and advocate on behalf of our aging adults. We are here to provide you the best information for your quality of life.
Welcome to Senior Stay or Go TV. Today we have a great guest, Brian Zumbano from the San Diego Foundation. He is the Vice President, Chief Development and Stewardship Officer for the San Diego Foundation. So thank you so much, Brian, for joining us today. We know you've got a busy schedule with trying to work from home and children and all that good stuff that everybody's trying to manipulate and work through. But would you be so kind as to tell us a little bit about what is the San Diego Foundation and how does it support our community? Because I think a lot of people may have heard of you and the foundation, but they don't really quite understand it.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Patty. Thanks, Ron, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
We at the San Diego Foundation, we're the largest community foundation here in San Diego. For about 44 years, we've been partnering with the nonprofit community and philanthropically minded citizens to help facilitate contributions to nonprofits doing great work, helping our community. In those 44 years, funds at the San Diego Foundation have granted out more than $1.2 billion to nonprofits in the community. And we do that mostly through what's called donor advised funds, as most people know. An individual can make a charitable contribution to open that kind of fund with us, and then partner with us to educate themselves about the nonprofits doing work in the areas that matter to them, and then grant contributions to those nonprofits to help with their work. We do a lot of other kind of, that's what we're kind of known for. We do some other work as well. One of which is holding funds for various nonprofits. We have 300 different funds for nonprofits in San Diego. They utilize funds with us for their own fundraising capabilities. And it's kind of a back office for San Diego nonprofits that might not have the capacity or the ability to have that kind of infrastructure. We also do a lot in estate planning, and I know we'll chat a little bit more in depth about that, where people working on their estates can leave dollars to nonprofits, and we help partner with not only attorneys, but the individuals themselves on making that happen. There's various other things we do as well, but those are the main highlights.
So again, just to kind of dig a little bit deeper on that before we go into the next question, people can choose to give to the foundation as opposed to a single charity or two or three charities. Give us, why would they do that? I mean, what's the thinking behind that? What's the benefit to the consumer?
Thank you. We actually do a tremendous amount of that work just for that purpose. You mentioned multiple charities. A lot of people who leave money in their wills and their estates for charities tend to leave it to more than one. And when you leave multiple nonprofits in your trust, you need to do just that. You need to create your trust. You need to name those nonprofits. You need to have all separate agreements with those nonprofits about that transaction. One of the key things about leaving charitable dollars in your trust is you need to make sure the language in your trust matches up directly with the language from that nonprofit. So when the estate does mature, the people executing it are able to do so efficiently. Now, trust attorneys tend to be the one contacting us for help because partnering with the San Diego Foundation, instead of your trust having all those different nonprofits listed, there's one nonprofit in your trust, the San Diego Foundation. And then you can partner with us for free for the rest of your life to figure out which nonprofits you want that get those designations. And over time, you might engage with different nonprofits. You might, one might go away. There's a lot of different things that can happen from when you create your trust to when it matures about the reality of those nonprofits. So instead of going back to your trust every time, paying your lawyer, and going back and changing your trust every time you wanted to make a change, you just work with the San Diego Foundation. And I'll say the trust attorneys tell us they really appreciate that too, because when the trusts mature, they only have one nonprofit to hunt down, and it's the San Diego Foundation. They know where we are, and we've worked with a great many of them.
Well, certainly your name has become front and center in this period and since March in terms of COVID-19. We happen to watch KFMB a lot, and I see you've given out a lot of money. So tell us a little bit about how the San Diego Foundation has responded to the COVID-19 crisis.
Well, unfortunately, we're dealing with a unique situation here, and right around early March, I think, is when we started realizing, we might really need to do something, because again, when it comes to facilitating philanthropic dollars to help nonprofits on the front lines of our community's greatest issues, that's the role we play. And that's, I think, the role of a community foundation. So on March 16th, we launched our COVID-19 Community Response Fund. We did it in partnership with Supervisor Nathan Fletcher, United Way, SDG&E, and others. And SDG&E was generous enough to seed that fund with $1 million contribution. San Diego Foundation put $300,000 also to launch it. And since that time, the fund has raised about $9 million, has granted.
Wow.
And then the number we're actually more excited about is the $3.7 million that's been granted out, and much more coming. The idea is we want to get money out in the community. It's a zero fee fund, so the San Diego Foundation isn't getting anything for it. It's what the value we provide is donors, individuals, they can come to us and say, I want to help, but I don't know how. I don't know what nonprofits are doing what. You do, and we do. And we have an application process now. We have several hundred applications from various San Diego nonprofits telling us what their needs are, how much money they need, and we're able to vet those applications. We're able to identify the people making the most impact and getting dollars to those who can have the greatest impact in the community. And I think that's why we've seen such a kind of an outpouring of support for the fund, because people thankfully trust us to do that kind of work.
That's awesome. And our company Compass has what we call Compass Cares, where we give back to the community. And we have actually created a t-shirt that we're selling for $20, and all the funds are going to go towards the San Diego COVID Community Response Fund. So we're pretty proud of that.
Well, so are we. We greatly appreciate that. Compass has been such a remarkable impact on our community, both with business and driving that, but also philanthropically like this. And I want one of those T-shirts. I mentioned that I'm up first. They're really cool.
Okay.
Maybe on. And I think that's so important, in that the way to prevent people from getting taken from scams, and there will be scams out there already are, is that if they go to you, you have vetted the best of what's out there in terms of who's doing the most good for people in crisis right now. So thank you.
Have any of those COVID-19 community response funds gone directly to seniors and senior needs in San Diego?
Yes, several actually. We've supported, dozens of nonprofits now. I hate to direct people to a website, but all of our recipients are listed there, which is sdfoundation.org/COVID-19. And we identified 3 core areas with our fund to start. It was food security, it was rent and income replacement, and making sure people had a home to live in, money to pay for it, and food access. And we have partnered with senior-specific programs throughout the county on making sure our most vulnerable populations, and our seniors are that, get the support they need. And we're partnering with nonprofits that are doing just that work to do that.
Awesome.
And,
is there any, could you name 5 so that if people were to say, okay, if I'm going to call San Diego Foundation and I really wanted to focus on seniors, do you have names of those that maybe they could give you? Or would you then, if they called you, then you provide a list of options, or they come to you and say, here's where I'd like my money to go?
You could do any of the above. One of the benefits of contributing to our fund is they can feel confident that it'll go to certain areas, and they can see all the different senior nonprofits supported. Or they could call us and say, if they have a fund with us, or philanthropically, do their charitable giving through us, say where to give, where should I give. And one of the cool things we're doing at a small scale, we're hoping to do it more, is getting the information from all those applications we're getting and educating our fund holders about the needs. So we're able to say, 10 million sounds like a lot of money if we can raise that much, but it is a drop in the bucket to the need we're seeing. So we'll exhaust the money we raise in our fund, but we will have information about the need in the community much more than that. And we can disseminate that information to interested fund holders we partner with to make sure that they also are educated to get the dollars out the door. We're very happy about the money we've been able to get out of our COVID fund, but also an additional $3.5 million has been granted just in the month of March from our fund holders outside of that fund. So it's not
Wow.
what's coming out of our fund, but our fund holders have been amazingly generous and supportive very quickly at a very high level. So I just want to thank all of them as well. It's been inspiring to work with them.
That's awesome. That's awesome news to hear.
Yeah. So what is, again, obviously you've had strategy meetings probably every day.
Yeah.
What do you see, June, July, August coming, not that we're out of it, but that we're moving hopefully to the point where we can start opening things up? What do you see the ongoing needs are, and how can we help you?
I'm glad you brought that up, because this is something we're going to have to really reiterate over and over again. I don't want to be pessimistic or negative, but we are going to transition from an emergency response phase to a resiliency building phase. We are going to come out of this emergency phase. When we start reopening again, we're still going to have a lot of people out of work. We are going to have a lot of nonprofits who are not going to be able to sustain their programming. There is going to be a tremendous amount of need going forward. We have college students who can't afford to go to college. We have students in low-income communities who don't have laptops to study from home, who don't have internet access to do this. We think those are assumed. They are not assumed. We have populations in a whole generation not being educated right now. And it's the ramifications of that are going to be paramount, and we are going to have years of time, to be quite honest, raising funds and getting them to the nonprofits and the organization doing something about it. So what we're seeing in the coming months, once we do return, it won't be a return to normal for the nonprofits and the communities most significantly impacted with it. So this is more of a start, to be quite honest, than an end of a process.
I agree with you 1,000%. As Patty knows, one of my pet projects is the YMCA.
Yeah.
I know you're working with them, and I thank you for that, and I applaud you for that. But going into the summer and the next fall, I really see them as not just a gym, but as an online educator and an online physical fitness center for all ages and moving forward. So I think that's going to be a great partnership for both of you.
No, definitely. And they were actually a recipient from one of our grants as well. So as were a lot of people, but yeah, the Y does amazing work.
Yep.
So how can San Diegans partner with the San Diego Foundation to help with their estate plan? You talked briefly about that in the beginning, but let's focus on that a little bit further.
Well, one of the good things about, I think, partnering with us is we become part of your team. We work very closely with trust attorneys and estate attorneys, wealth advisors, to make something that makes the most sense for you as a person. Nonprofits are amazing working with people about estates. When you talk to a nonprofit about their estate, you're talking about that specific nonprofit, not the overall need that you have. We at the San Diego Foundation, the money doesn't stay with us unless you want to set up an endowment. It goes to the nonprofits, but we partner with your attorney, we partner with your wealth advisor for something that makes sense for you, because everyone's different when it comes to their estate and their charity. What makes sense for you might not make sense for me in terms of that. And to have your attorney talking about one aspect, your wealth advisor talking about your wealth and your assets, and then the San Diego Foundation with our expertise talking about what charitable vehicles make the most sense for you and your asset base, and all those people working together bring to the client, bring to people building their estate, a customized, comprehensive approach to their estate planning that makes sense specifically to them and leverages the most amount of charitable dollars possible to the nonprofits they care about. You'd be surprised how many times if you retroactively look at an estate plan, might have left some money on the table, to be quite honest, with not picking the right assets for charitable purposes. And that's where we come in.
Brian, as you know, Patty and I are realtors by day and senior advocates by night, I think. Is there can people leave you real estate in their trust?
Yes, very much so. And it's actually one thing we do, not just for that, but for other nonprofits who don't have those capabilities. We have a separate foundation as part of us, a separate 501c3 actually, that our Charitable Real Estate Foundation. And that is a group that can realize gifts of real estate, sell it, and then get the money to the nonprofits that they want to, either now or in an estate plan. So that's another reason why I think partnering with us provides value, because as I mentioned, we can look at the total asset base and say, all right, here's a house. We can do all that. So we can just like look at all your assets, whether it be a home, a rental property. Heck, we even did once a suite of luxury cars someone had that they wanted to liquidate in their estate. So any non-cash asset is something that can be the right way used to leverage for philanthropic purposes. And like you say, one of the most popular and common ones is real estate.
So let's get your call to action. How do people get in touch with you, and how can they learn more?
Several ways, one of which is our website, sdfoundation.org. But another way is, I don't know about your audience, I like to talk to humans. So I like to pick up a phone, talk to someone. And during business hours, even while we work remotely, our staff is always available to talk to a person. So if people call 619-814-2300, that is our main line. Just say what your needs are, what you want to talk to. If it's, I'd like to talk to someone about my estate, we'll get you someone to talk to someone about your estate. It's about our COVID fund. If it's about general charitable giving, there's someone available to talk to you on the phone, one-on-one, in person as possible these days, to answer the questions you need, because everyone's charitable situation is different. It's unique and it's custom. And I think that's the value we provide.
Again, you are a great treasure here in San Diego. The San Diego Foundation has been doing great work for many years. I hope that we get a lot of eyes and ears onto this so people can really open up their pocketbooks to you and understand what you do and how you do it. And we thank you for taking the time today to join us. Brian, thank you. San Diego Foundation.org. Continue to do the great works. Patty and I appreciate you coming on today. And Patty, any last?
No, just thank you so much, and really hope that from this interview, once it does get out to the public in various forms, that you get some calls, and that COVID-19 Community Resource Fund continues to grow.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And it's nice to see you both again. I'm seeing you both.
Here.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks a lot. You too.
Enjoy.
Take care.